We got a little bit of a unique condition where the porch concrete is in our way to run our big scissor lift and work. So what we're gonna do is set the Magni up. We're gonna get the basket. It's a good time to use it. It unfolds to like 16 foot long. We can work out of it. We can use the remote to move it around like our boom lift. And we're gonna try to get all these windows framed on this front wall. It's kind of a crappy day. We got a lot of drip going on in the building. We've got mud around the building, and I think this is our best, best case scenario. So we're gonna get this Magni set up. There you go. Ow, there you go. You're okay.
I got it.
Okay. Nice, look at that, dude. Now we have a basket that is capable of holding 3 people. And what's that say? 1,675 pounds. And the nice thing is, we basically have free range on the load chart to do that. Like, it steps off. It's basically always going to, I think, sense the weight in the basket and just not let you go any further. So we got to get it hooked up, the electronics, so we can remote control. And the important thing that we learned is that these outriggers and the machine have to be down and in a plus or minus 1 degree from perfectly level. If it gets out of that, it does not let you run this, because now you're involving human beings out there at a load point instead of, in the machine and just having material. So, it's a little bit more sensitive, but it should allow us to get up there and do our window framing and our sheathing up above the porch. All right, guys, before we start framing these windows up above me, I'm trying to think about elevations and aesthetics on how it all goes together. And I did have this plan done, right? And I've talked about it. This plan is purchasable over on my page, and you can see how we're building all this. But these 3 windows right here are the windows that we're gonna start on. And the way it's drawn is the bottoms are very similar to the bottoms over here, which are my 3 massive windows on my south wall. I don't think that's gonna work, and I'm trying to get it figured out so that when I'm up in this room above us, because there's a 2nd story, it looks good, it feels good. My windows aren't too close to the ground, but they're not too close to the ceiling. And from the outside, I want it to look like it all kind of flows together. So I think what we've determined is we know what girts we're gonna go on, where we're gonna frame it. I don't know, it's just one of those things that a little bit of time thinking about it and having a plan and having the 3D visuals to look at and help you make that decision, I think is important. But I don't know that this plan is accurate to how I'm going to do it. So one thing I've said before is that my goal is throughout this process, as I make some minor changes to the design as I go, because I start to kind of see it, feel it, touch it. If you purchase one of these plans, I will make sure that at the end, if you want an updated plan, by all means, I will just send it to you. It's no big deal. So, if you guys want to follow along with this, make more sense as we're building the plan, I'll put a link down below. I don't know. It's one of these things that it's my decision to make. I have to make it. A lot of times when you're looking at design, the customer makes that decision. I don't know. I just want it to look good. So I'm just taking a little bit of time trying to lay things out, make sure it's good. And I would recommend you doing the same thing for your project. So I think we got it. Let's go ahead and get these built. Eight foot. And I tell you what, this is kind of nice. This basket is quite large. Okay, so this last girt we knew we had to frame because we didn't have it. And I also want to make sure that it is as close to perfect as possible, because this is going to be my quote unquote header for the windows themselves. And I know what you're gonna say, dude, there's a lot of movement in this post. There actually is. And when I designed this building, I made the conscious decision knowing that these tall walls would have a lot of movement until I built the 2nd story mezzanine, and then that basically cuts this span in half. I did not want to go with a bigger column because it would lose interior space and I'm restricted to a certain size. So I wanted to do the minimal possible. And if I was to leave this all open at 20 feet, I would have went with a 2x8 column. I would not have done this with just a straight 2x6. So just something to note. Yeah, there is a little bit of movement here. I mean, I could probably get a 1/4 inch. There's probably about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch deflection on this. Seems like a lot. but that'll all go away almost entirely when the ceiling and floor get built for the second story. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure, because I'm sure people are gonna say that building is moving a lot. Yeah, it is. Or maybe I'm just hammering it really hard. Okay, so this last girt is also gonna be the header height, like I said, and this is where I was kind of struggling because you can see my ceiling in here. This is the ceiling right here. So this middle window is still gonna be, shoot, 3 feet below the ceiling, but as we go out, my concern was I didn't want the window to be too close to the ceiling, which no matter what, this board right here is the bottom of my truss heel, which means that's the bottom of my ceiling way out here. As it comes in, I'm going up at it's a 212 pitch. So when I put this window here, I don't think I'll be too close to the ceiling. I think it'll be just fine. They're 57 7/8. So that's gonna be the bottom of my window. That's what we're gonna do. We're sticking to it.
What makes sense for board and batten?
I'll probably start in the middle with a seam because it's 12 foot each way, which means I'll end with a full panel. If I go 8 feet, that'll be a batten, it'll be in the center of 8 feet. So I think that's what I do. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna center these bad boys.
Just run the center?
I think so. We don't have a batten on a corner of a trim. So I think we're pretty money. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and throw these up real quick before Greg comes up. He can tell me what he thinks about it on the ground. I trust his opinion. We've done enough of these now that he knows what I want. Plumb that bad boy up. See, this is where we would potentially come through and put nails. Would be after we've kind of fastened this, like here. Like, you know, once we get it sucked in, then come through and like pop nails because it's a taller board instead of wasting like 400 GRKs. Because it's really important for that to be sucked in nice and tight. There's one in there that looks like a stick. Yeah, right there.
It could also be this middle here. It looks like it maybe like bows this way.
Okay.
So that's a possibility.
Perfect. You like it? I like it.
Wait, you doing these windows backwards from the other windows?
I did them the way I wanted them. You know what I want to do?
Eat.
I kind of want. Yes, I kind of want to go to Pizza Ranch.
Pizza Ranch. Mm-hmm. Honestly,
but I don't want to spend
$14.
$14.99. Well, I think those windows turned out pretty good. I'm not entirely excited about the overhang over there being close to the window. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna modify that a little bit to make it look less out of place, but I think the centering and the spacing is good. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna frame my man door here, my walk door. Greg is gonna work on grade board, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into the rest of these windows, but first I'll take care of this walk door frame. I might have to, yeah. So totally unplanned, where we ended up going with these headers, just so everything was on the same height. These windows are just above this girt here. And normally we would run another flat face 2x here. We can't do that. So what we're going to do is just cut this girt out, and we're gonna raise it up. And that bottom header, sill, whatever, is going to just be our girt also. Since this is 2 foot on center, This spacing is normally 18.5. Our first one is only 16, so when we spread that out, we're gonna have the same spacing as all these other ones. I ain't worried about it, but it'll make our job a lot easier and have a nice solid one-piece board through this here. So we're just gonna cut it out and move our girt, which sometimes you gotta do, you know? You try to do all the same girts, but this time it didn't work. If I'm sitting here drinking coffee at my coffee table, Greg's coffee table, I can see people coming up my drive. I can look at, you know, whatever's out in my shop. Pretty impressive.
All myself.
Okay, you got it, all by yourself. Okay, I got this side. What are you doing? Stop lifting.
Oh, I'm already in, so that's why I was lifting.
Oh, makes sense. You only care about you.
Yep. Do you see what I'm seeing?
No, I don't.
No?
But you can't look at the post, Greg. Envision it with a wall of stuff. And when that porch is coming down here, this is gonna all be kind of black. So you'll have this wall of white over here, starting at this post. So I'm trying to get those windows centered in that space.
Yeah, sure.
If anything, I would think about taking that window that way further, but I'm not gonna.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
End of the day, whatever we do will look good. It will be fine. So let's go ahead and let's frame that like that. Make sure everything's plumb. Make sure those posts are plumb. I don't like putting windows and doors on post, but I try to have a little bit of space between my windows and doors and posts just so we have a little bit more playroom, because posts are never perfect. All the time we eyeball the spacing of them on the post. Like when we hit this mark, the goal is for it to be dead center, but we just eyeball it. It doesn't really usually matter. Now that we're gonna be putting a window tight to this post, we're just gonna hope and pray that it's straight and plumb. Fingers crossed, man. Hope and a prayer. Hope and a prayer. Right there, I'd say. Okay. So that's our edge. Want to make sure that these windows, because they're the exact same width as the ones below them, are in line perfectly. So when we do our siding, when we do our trims, we do our battens, if there's a line going right next to them, one won't be off compared to the other from one window to the other. So this is always something we always try to think of. You feel like you like it? There, okay. So we got our gap there at the post.
Yep.
So we'll be able to get some foam insulation or rock wool there. Have you been wearing that blue shirt all day, dude?
All day.
Oh, I feel like you just put it on at lunchtime or something. As you can see, that girt that went through our window was spliced on this column. So instead of using a 2x4 when we're right here, we just go ahead and we rip down a full board that will kind of fill in this entire area, just so we have solid face framing on our window, but also it goes back and fills in this space. If I would have used a 2x4, there would have been like a 1/2 inch gap right there. Well, I guess those windows are going there now, since I've cut out all the girts. All right, I think this is gonna end it for the day for us, guys. Today was a lot of prep work. We had to do all these window framing. We had to get it all figured out, cut it all up, install it. But now this wall is gonna be ready for sheathing, and I think it's gonna be an awesome wall to get sheathed. That is what we're gonna get into right now. So we'll be back here tomorrow and we'll get into that. All right, guys, we're back here in the morning. We got all that window framing done yesterday. I just wrapped up blocking and framing for the porch behind the sheathing, and Greg just got done doing the overhead door blocking, which means we are now ready to sheathe this wall, and I think it's gonna definitely change, obviously, the appearance of this. I mean, I like seeing the frame. Now that these windows are framed in, you know, it looks great, but we gotta get it closed up, so let's go ahead and just get right into the sheathing. So because we know math, we can go ahead and cut all of our sheets. Hopefully, we do it right, because we're gonna cut that whole gable right here, pulling one tape measure mark, and hopefully cross your fingers. We've done our diligence. We don't mess up, because then I've got 6 wasted sheets potentially, or at least 2 wasted sheets, because we can always shift the tall ones down, right?
Yeah, you know, it's gonna be
like doing that.
It's gonna be all right, because we're going up past our soffit line, so even if it was dropped 2 inches, we should still be fine.
It's true. All right, so before we finish up the sheathing right here, you guys remember back when we did this wall, this piece we left off because this post was not exactly where we wanted it to be. So we're gonna see if it pops free. Just gonna try to loosen that board up a little bit. Okay, nails are cut. Greg, why don't you from the inside there, I'm gonna look at my line, take the little guys out, and then pop that big one and see if it moves out or not. Oh, I felt it, I felt it. No, don't go any further. Okay, I've got my mark right here and I'm on it now. You can see there our mark. I'd like to get just past it, see what happens. Oh yes, buddy. I like it, dude. Go ahead and tighten that thing back down, and it's a corner column.
Can you cut that guy off, that bolt?
Oh, wait, I don't know. Can I do that with my 9-inch thick metal demo demon? Let's give it a try. Look at that, 1/2-inch screw bolt, like it was nothing. Good, now we've got our corner fixed. You know what they say, it's only a mistake if you don't fix it. Nice job. All right, let's go get this sheath. Yeah. All right, that is the wall of sheathing. Now, I mean, honestly, it looks cool, but I kind of wish that I could see all the window spots now, because it just looks like a big blank wall, and I know it's gonna be a lot cooler looking than what that looks like. However, that's coming, guys. Windows are here. We've got them delivered. They're all just ready to be cut out and installed. But I think what we're gonna do is, after we wrap up that last side, which is gonna have some window framing details that I've been asked about. Specifically, we have columns going through right where our windows are gonna be. So we have to do some framing. People have asked how they do that. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you guys wanna make sure that you get to see that. I guess you don't wanna miss it. Otherwise, if you guys enjoyed this, hit that thumbs up. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about this big blue wall. This is LP Weather Logic. Once we've got that taped, it's an air and water barrier system. So we don't have to house wrap. We don't have to worry about the house wrap blowing off in the wind. Little holes from all our staples leaking into the building. This is good to go. So I love using it. It's awesome. And a little bit more taping, and this wall will be completely done, but at least I got all the high stuff done with the Magni. And with that, guys, I'm gonna go and wrap up, clean up, and we'll catch you on the next video. Stay tuned. It's only gonna get cooler.